My mission is simple, to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now. Hey, I'm Cramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Cramer. Other people make friends. I'm just trying to help you make a little money. My job is not just to entertain and educate, but to teach you about days like today. So call me at 1-800-743-CNBC. Tweet me at Jim Cramer. The last time President Trump was in the White House, you always had to buy the dips that he would periodically cause with his own saber rattling. You always had to purchase the stocks of companies he attacked because their stocks would never go higher anyway. You had to see the opportunity that his bluster hid, even if it was painful to do so. Those fraught moments were the best times to invest, and that's what happened today when the Dow rallied 538 points, S&P gained 0.88%, the Nasdaq advanced 0.64%, because after months and months of talking high tariffs, President Trump was very measured about trade barriers in his inaugural speech. He didn't threaten prohibitive tolls at all. Maybe 4 years is a long time ago, but people seem to forget the Trump drill. The president loves the stock market. He always loves to send signals that all hell is going to break loose. And when it doesn't, well, guess what? The market flies. This rally is built on the back of tariffs, more specifically smaller than expected tariffs that could grow bigger if countries don't play ball. It's built on the backs of new projects like Stargate, a new AI infrastructure initiative that's backed by OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank to put up new data centers filled, no doubt, with orders from NVIDIA equipment. And it's cemented by the appearance of all the big tech executives at the new president's inauguration. What a difference from 2017 when Trump's presidency was contentious and a lot of executives didn't want to have anything to do with him. But let's go back to what's really driving today's markets, the tariffs, which turned out to be all bark, no bite, at least so far. Lots of people thought that Trump would kick off his second term by stoking a huge trade war against China. The repercussions would be gigantic. Sure, some money would come into the Treasury thanks to the tariffs, but China might then retaliate, and then we come right back and tit for tat, and who knows where it would go. I didn't see it that way because Trump told me that it might not happen. I want you to take a listen to what he said right after he was elected when I asked him right here on the floor of the exchange about China.
We have a lot of talks with China. We have a good relationship with China. I have a surprising relationship. Now, when the COVID came in, I sort of cut it off. That was a step too far. That was, as they say, a bridge too far. But we've been talking and discussing with President Xi some things and others, other world leaders, and I think we're going to do very well all around.
Well, he said it. But for many, it's a remarkable turn of events. A light hand when it comes to China. Maybe even lighter than President Biden, who through his assistants would constantly hector the Chinese, chiefly about advanced semiconductors, but also about their dubious trade practices. I think Trump finally realized that we never really got anything from the Chinese by playing tough. They didn't even try to appease us. They gave us nothing. Maybe he's got a plan. But no matter what, the actual tariff plan was a pure under-promise, over-deliver rye post that got Wall Street very excited about a new, more flexible Trump regime when we saw the smoke clear. Many investors were concerned that Trump was going to go after Mexico and Canada with everything he had, but because he'd mentioned he'd do that at one point. No. Before taking the White House, he talked about putting 25% tariffs on our two long-standing trading partners immediately. But then, when the America First trade policy memo came out, we saw that the administration wants to study the situation. Sure, he's still talking about renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. But when it comes to actual policy, it sounds like if he can find someone in Canada to negotiate with, he'll do it. And he's already getting a pretty businesslike set of answers from Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico. Again, the rhetoric was hot, but the reality was cool. Sure, there are some real harsh words for a lot of the environmental rules and regulations and grants that President Biden jammed through the last 4 years. Trump has no time for these. He says that oil and gas is integral to making America great again. If you drill enough and produce enough, you're going to get lower oil prices, along with American hegemony overseas. Because without high gas prices, Russia's got nothing. Makes a ton of sense. Unless you're concerned about the environment, in which case there are obviously some real trade-offs. Of course, it's not clear how much Trump can influence the oil and gas companies. They need more pipe to bring natural gas to market, both overseas and domestic. The oil CEOs know that if they lose discipline at the behest of the president, prices will plummet and they'll miss their quarters. But you never know. The oil executives were so disrespected under the Biden administration that maybe they could be a little more pliable and jolly when it comes to Trump. Which brings me back to this start to Trump's term. versus his American carnage days from the previous administration. In the first go-round, Trump really actually didn't have a lot of context with businesses we know. Outside of real estate and entertainment, they didn't know him and he didn't know them. This time around, business people know one thing very clearly. They felt targeted during the Biden administration. The agencies where the real power is seemed to be stocked with people who had tremendous antipathy toward business. In particular, they really had it in for any company that was extremely successful, and it made a lot of money for its execs and you, a shareholder. The second thing business people know, Elon Musk. Look, I don't know a lot of executives who, behind the scenes, actually like Musk personally. But I also don't know a soul in business who doesn't respect him. Musk is incredibly successful. There's no denying that track record. We don't really know how much he can get done in Washington. Seems like he lacks a real power base to make changes. I fear he'll end up just being consulted with no influence. But just the fact that he's in the room makes CEOs more comfortable than they ever felt with Biden, who seemed to recoil from them for fear of sending the wrong message to the rank and file. He never wanted a photo op with any business people. Lots of executives could see that Trump not only has no problem with rich people, but he sought them out for advice. Remember, at the end, Biden's agenda was controlled not by the Commerce Department's Gina Raimondo, who was relatively business-friendly, but people like Jonathan Cantor in the Justice Department's Antitrust Division, Lena Khan, the FTC, Jennifer Granholm, the Energy Secretary, who warned of exporting too much liquefied natural gas, the real energy regulators, the EPA, or Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, who was deeply focused on Apple's powerful grip on cell phones. Shh, don't tell the Apple sellers who drove the stock down 3%. More on that later. Now, if you don't trust big business, you probably like the heavy hand. You like the regulation. But if you ran one of these companies, you were often blindsided by a subpoena or maybe even a lawsuit. No dialogue ahead of time. That's not how things have been done in this country until Biden. There had always been dialogue, unless you thought that you were a crook. If they thought you were a crook, no dialogue. These execs felt like they were all treated like crooks, though, under Biden. Maybe you think that's a partisan thing, but I never heard anything like this about Obama, ever. He was all business. In the last go-around, Trump did lay into companies that were moving operations to Mexico. He did opine that Amazon abused the post office, but those were all buying opportunities. This time he carried a big stick going into the White House, but spoke softly once he was ensconced in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Will it stay this way? What did we learn about Trump the first time around? You could never be sure. The difference on day one, he knows business people, Silicon Valley. He knows how things work. You may like him, you may hate him, but the bottom line, if you're a tech titan, Trump will take your call. In fact, he'll call you. Biden, I don't know if he knew who they even were, and he certainly didn't bother to call them. In the end, I think he preferred to sue them. If you own stocks, which is why you watch me, Trump's method is a heck of a lot better for your portfolio. Brian in Colorado. Brian.
Hey, Jim, I just recently read your book, Make Money Carefully. It was really great. I really hope you consider writing another.
Well, stay tuned.
Helped me make a lot of money.
Thank you. How can I help you now?
Hey, so you've been consistent in your general caution regarding investment in the automakers lately, but I wanted to ask you about one of them that's recently set some optimistic goals going forward and also made it clear that they're looking well beyond auto manufacturing with a recent large investment into space tech. Jim, I'm looking for your current thoughts on ticker TM Toyota.
Look, I like Toyota more than I like many of the American automakers, but again, it's still in the auto business, and that's a real tough neighborhood, and I care about the neighborhood. Joe in Georgia. Joe.
Cramer, how's it going?
Not bad, Joe. How about you?
I'm doing great. I've got a question. I've started a small position in Progressive, and I've been very interested in this. It looks like they're taking market share from Geico, consistently raising sales and free cash flow. And I want to know, is this a good one to add to a more...
I hear behind the scenes over and over again that they are the most AI-related auto insurer. They're the best at pricing. I salute you for going with Progressive. I need to go to John in South Carolina. John.
Hey, Jim. Glad to be on the call, on the show.
I'm glad to have you. Glad to have you on the show. What's up?
Long-time listener, second-time caller, member of the club.
All right. Thank you very much. Don't forget our Thursday meeting at noon. How can I help?
There you go. My question is about CrowdStrike. I've established a position with a cost basis just below 320. Should I trade and take some of the profits? Hold?
I think CrowdStrike is going up big from here. I think that cybersecurity business is terrific. I think that they are just now beginning to play offense after that glitch that occurred. I do think that this is the time to own CrowdStrike and to own what George Kurtz has built. All right, this time around, Trump knows more people, more business people, and they know him. If you own stocks, and if you're watching me, you probably do. That's a good thing. I'm everybody tonight. Taiwan Semi's earnings sparked a broader run-up among the semiconductor capital equipment stocks. I'm breaking down its report and the fact and the best pin action I've seen in ages. Then I'm taking a closer look at the leader of last week's rally and revealing what stocks I think could build higher in a lower rate environment. And after my time at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference in San Francisco, I'm giving you my takeaways and eyeing the road ahead for the sector. So stay with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on X. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadMentions. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.